They kind of range. So like I'm always keeping these small sketchbooks in my pocket all the time. And I kind of use them as almost like travel diaries or like kind of remember what's happening. Because like take a photo, I don't remember in the same way as if I sit and do a drawing, even if it's a crappy drawing. And then I have like, I like to paint plein air. So I got some plein air stuff here and some life drawings. So kind of like they use them for different things. I literally was doing a drawing like half an hour ago.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay, so Kris, you brought a lot of sketchbooks.
Yeah, because I've got like hundreds of them. So this is really a thin down of the crazy in my life. Sometimes like these bigger books, I do use them for life drawing, but like if I do a bad drawing, I will abandon a sketchbook. That's why I have so many of them. So like I find the pressure of a bigger book kind of like these little guys feel like less threatening. So they're kind of, I tried to thin out any like heavy depression books. Like I think I think these are a little bit okay. Like, but you will see like there is like definitely emotion in here. Like,
but you have those depressive.
Oh, of course, yeah. Especially like the one that I just finished like 3 weeks ago, kind of my COVID book. Like it's an interesting kind of moment in time. I think
You have an archive. How do you catalog them?
Honestly, so. I'm a story artist, right? So my goal is never to find perfection. My goal is to actually kind of capture moments. So I love just sort of taking my brain off the hook and just drawing what's in front of me. So in production, I often will, when I'm commuting back and forth, like Vancouver, my last movie, I was like riding my bike home. And before I go home, I couldn't go in with my brain on. So I'd go to a pub or I'd go to a cafe and I'd sit and I'd draw. And it was less about sort of consuming any, inebriating alcohol. It was more about just getting the brain to calm down. So the drawings kind of do that for me. So you'll see a lot of kind of pub sketching in here. And I found that was kind of an interesting kind of release in terms of, again, it's just that unlatching of the day from my brain. Shall we pick one?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pick this one because I think this one's got some interesting stuff because it's thinner.
You can just push it aside so we know.
So that's my daughter in England. That one didn't finish. This was, we were doing the bee orchestra for the Willoughbys, and this was in Mutaro, which is a round building in Los Angeles where Mark Mothersbaugh. Do you know who that is? Mark Mothersbaugh? Devo, that was his band. But he did the like Royal Tenenbaums and Life Aquatic. But I worked with him on the Cloudy film, so that's Mark right there. That's Steve, the editor, and that's my music soup.
I'm always curious, how long does this take?
These are very quick, like probably 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little longer. But I kind of, I'll kind of wander through. Like this is the one of the violinists. Brad is the engineer's name. So again, I'm just trying to capture stuff. Stanley was a French bulldog that was hanging out there. I find when I'm looking at artists too, like there's something about the energy. Like I find I was like drawing even faster when the drummer was going. Like I was trying to kind of keep up with his energy. And I always kind of make little stupid notes to myself. Like sometimes and this will help me remember what was going on there. You know what I mean? Like I think I was just talking about how this doesn't feel like work. Like just watching drummers and petting a dog. Like it doesn't feel like it's. I was having one of those moments where I was realizing how lucky I was. This was the vibraphone. I didn't know how to spell it, whether it was PH or F. But it's like this weird kind of ringing, like echoey sound. Like there was like this sort of sound with that. So I like the idea of just trying to, without any filter, just kind of capture what's in front of you. I love these sorts of like drawings where it's like I'm just sitting in a corner. I love going to a bar and not talking to anybody and just sort of sitting there in a kind of a sniper spot and just trying to capture the space. And people are moving in and out. So like a lot of what I'm doing is just trying to, get the feeling of the space. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of usually start with one face. I believe I probably started with her because it's the one that kind of has a little bit more personality. And as I draw out, you see things get looser and it starts to get more architectural. But I just try to capture the, again, it's just like the energy and the feeling of the space.
Yeah, it's great. I would love to see them all because I saw you flipping pages and that's amazing. I think.
Like this was okay. I brought this one because it's a little different. So this one, we were in early development stage at Cloudy 2. The script had just come in, and we hadn't launched out Board Artists. And before we got into it, I was kind of literally just trying to find moments, like almost like beat boards. So these aren't storyboards, but they're kind of like I was just trying to capture the movie. So like this is the whole. I think this is Act 3. Sometimes I'll do these sorts of books before I launch out to my artists, like to kind of get my head wrapped around it. Sometimes I find that this actually is like a bit too controlling. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm almost like I think this is my first film I directed, so I think I was a little bit more anxious about controlling that process, and yet I've got this sort of artifact of that time, which is kind of cool, right? Yeah. Should I grab another one? And we just keep doing this? Like, is this okay?
Or you can just, well, you were trying to find the one.
This is a bit more of a travel book. So this is when I was working for DNEG and Locksmith. So I was kind of alone in London, and I would spend a lot of time just doodling. Yeah, and I was kind of doing that tourist thing where I was like trying to capture stuff in the place. These are that's my daughter and my niece. If I'm like kind of with somebody, I'll put them in. So this is like sketching with Caitlin and Emma, and then they left, and this is me alone again. So when I'm alone, I tend to just draw buildings. It's sort of one of those things. But I like kind of capturing the architecture places. So, and again, I think this sort of goes into my work too, like the idea of like capturing space. This was a nice morning, but that was okay. So this was Toronto, and then this was a really quick sketch. I was changing trains, and I really liked the way that the light was kind of coming through Union Station. I wanted to get it really quick, and so I just sat down. I think this is probably a 30-second. These are the donkeys I have in my backyard.
You do this every day, right?
I try to. Sometimes I fall off the wagon. It is like going to the gym, where it's like I get a release from the experience of kind of doing this stuff. And these were on a plane. I don't do this I brought this book because I do have a few kind of just imagination sketches. I don't do this very often. I like drawing bears for some reason, and I also like playing with like kind of like, to me, like this drawing, even though there's a bit more shading and work on it, like this one was my favorite one. I remember when I drew this one, I was just like kind of feeling a little stuck. I think I was on an airplane. Sometimes I just wish I could be in the woods. Do you know what I mean? So like the idea of like just quickly drawing something from like memory, like there's no reference there. It's just like trying to imagine like a better place to sit.
Yeah, probably you were feeling really tired, right?
Yeah, and you can tell like I think I was hitting a bit of a depression here where I start to draw myself, and I try to. And I sometimes I'll put myself on. I try to capture where I am, like just like how the bags are forming and like the wrinkles as my face is getting older. Like, it's just like trying to be honest about sort of who you are and what you look like without any spin, And then I ended up like this is like life drawing is another kind of thing that I'm just really really passionate about. Like not in terms of like portfolio pieces, but I love capturing like just movement and shape. And to me, it's like the quick sketch, like anything past like 3 minutes, I tend to start to like lose interest in. But I love trying to capture that sense of weight and space. Always looking for like kind of positive and negative, like just like where the twist of the pose is, and then very quickly knock in just my volume, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are these interesting, or
it's really interesting. Yeah. Those are great.
This was at a baseball game, right? So like you're in an arena with a lot of other people, and I just love the idea of like paying attention to what's going on, like not the game, just sort of like how the space is working with the business around it. You know what I mean? Like so, like I'm sitting there and I'm kind of present and I'm paying attention to the game, but like doing a drawing of like the people who are filming and capturing it and the other team members sort of waiting on the side. Like to me, I feel like I'm more part of the event. Like there's something that sort of like now I'll remember that day. Like I remember how that smelled, how like what I was like the beer I was drinking, and I was also moving around. Like it was one of those games where the stadium wasn't very full, so I was like trying to move around to kind of capture Dodger Stadium and get that sort of sense of how that cathedral was. Sometimes it's just an idea will come into my head. I'll just be thinking of something. I'll just do a scribble. For some reason, when I'm in a new place too, I find like I am a little more careful, just because I think I'm more interested too. Do you know what I mean? Like there's that feeling of like I can't believe I'm in China. Like as a kid growing up on a farm in Canada, like, I didn't think I'd ever get there. That's at the ROM in Toronto. I love drawing bones and stuff. Like there's something kind of cool.
You love drawing.
Yeah, I do. And actually, so my girlfriend was she's a musician, and that's her, and they were recording an album. So it was like, well, they were in the booth doing their thing. I was sitting on the couch, and instead of drawing them, I'm always sometimes interested in something that's like not the focal point. You know what I mean? Like there's something kind of neat. And again, I think it's just like as I'm sitting here drawing these guitars, I'm remembering everything. Like my brain is more awake because of the fact that I'm doing the drawing. Like there's something that synapses into the scene. But I often find like I'll go to like the back of my book. This is where I kind of make notes and stuff. And these are kind of notes to myself, so they just get kind of scribbly and sloppy.
You said you like plein air, right?
I do. I brought a bit of that too. Again, I'm not great at it, but it's one of those things where, like, this was the Grand Canyon. And sometimes when I work with color, like it's less about trying to be accurate because I usually go with like a limited palette, like just like a handful of like cakes, and I just want to try to quickly grab what I feel and see. The sun was setting, and the colors get brighter as the sun's going down. This one, I was doing a short up in Kuujjuaq, which is up in Nunavik, up in the Arctic, and it was in the summertime. But I was out there painting at golden hour, and then I got bit by a black fly, and then 2 black flies. And I remember I didn't finish the painting; I got swarmed out of there. But it was such a kind of cool moment to get eaten by bugs in the Canadian North. So this was actually just here a few days ago. I kind of out towards there, and then these ones are just kind of quick sketches of here. So, anyways, that's my color stuff. I don't have too much.
So, do you have tools? Because I'm gonna ask you to draw something in our sketchbook. Pick a page.
Pick a page and go.
There's all the guests are doing the sketches there from another years, and well.
That's really cool. Get to the end here. What do you want me to draw?
Would you feel like drawing?
I'm gonna draw you. Is that okay?
Yeah, I like it because I feel like special. I don't know. The last one was me also, so.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. How long have you been doing this? Have you, like, you said this is from last year too, right? Like, have you been doing this?
We've been doing this since 2015.
Oh, that's awesome.
But 2 years, like in 2018 and 2020, we didn't do it. But the same thing happened earlier. Like when you start drawing, the interview changes. You're the interviewer.
Is that? I mean, another artist did that?
Yeah.
Ah. You should do a social experiment. See how many of us do that.
I'm doing it.
Do you draw?
No. I used to when I was a kid. And did you start drawing really early?
Yeah, my whole life. It wasn't good drawing, but I was always sort of trying to see the world through my sketches. And, and then as you get older, you kind of learn how to redraw, You break down what you know when you relearn it again,
What about something else? What are the stories you like to tell? Like, what stories interest you?
It's funny because like I tend to bend professionally towards comedy. Like I love the math of like, how to construct a joke. To me, a perfect moment is when you can get a laugh from a group of strangers. Whether it's something that you're crafting in animation, or whether it's like doing a talk, or even just like just finding a moment that's funny in a group setting, and I tend to gravitate towards that. But in terms of what I consume as storytelling, I tend to like, I always have podcasts on. I'm always like reading books. I love like the documentary sort of like, just, I want to learn stuff. So like I'll read books about like food or farming or like, history. I love history stuff. And so I often find like I'll be like kind of listening to something that's very dry and very relatively serious while I'm sketching, because I think there's just something about like, just living in a world that is somewhat real. I like the reality against the kind of weird stuff I get to do professionally, if that makes sense.
And you can do it like stay focused and listening to people talking, and
that's actually like why I like drawing in bars and stuff, because I like having a bit of that kind of noise around me, Like weirdly enough, I'll have like the podcast going, and I'll be also like just sort of having the ambient noise of like the room And even like when I'm storyboarding, I tend to watch TV and, always have like stuff kind of playing. And like, I love like cop dramas and stuff, like things that have a lot of, just a lot of kind of like dialogue I don't care about. It's like what do you call it? Like ER, like kind of like medical
CSI.
stuff. It's like people going, we need 2 cc's of blah blah blah, and I don't care. I'm just like it's just nice having someone in the room with me while I'm doodling.
I know the feeling. Yeah, you're fast.
Sloppy. I like always getting a bit of the set in too, just for the sake of. And then I got one last step. I don't always do this, but I like that because we're here. Let's knock in some volume. I don't know if it'll work well on this paper, but we'll try. It does give me a little bit of that. I like the light and dark of it, trying to get there. What do you think? Is it okay?
If I have to see it. I love it.
Was that fast compared to the other guys? Was that?
Yeah.
Or about in line,
Every drawing is different, so. But there was people before that took like half an hour or more, just like. But yeah.
All right. There we go.
Thank you. One last thing.
Yep.
Just can you remove the sketchbook? But I think it has to dry a bit, right? Now I'm gonna ask you to sign inside that outline you did. And that's it.
That's it. That was painless, man.
Okay, thanks, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope you
It's
can.
really good.
You can cut it all out and get like 2 minutes there.
No, we're gonna get so much more.
Cool.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Yeah.